Welcome to our Viserys Pro Training Presents video podcast series, your trusted source for professional insights and product know-how. In this episode, we are highlighting the MosquitoCon water holding receptacle and the Viserys Backyard Mosquito Management Program with Jason Conrad from Viserys and Richard Cruz from VM Products. Our podcasts are all part of our commitment to informing, training, and empowering you to add revenue, grow your business, and confidently serve your customers.
So good afternoon. Welcome to the first edition of the Viserys Backyard Mosquito Management Program. My name is Jason Conrad. I'm a regional director for Viserys. I've got over 13 years with Viserys and over 23 years specializing in the mosquito control industry. Today we've got with us from VM Products, Richard Cruz. He's a senior sales representative with VM Products. He's had over 18 years with Viserys and more than over 22 years experience in the pest management industry with a background spanning operations, sales, and inventory management technology. Today, he's bringing a wealth of knowledge to the conversation. So welcome, Richard.
Hey, there we go, Jason. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me today and taking the time for this because I think it's important, that we highlight this feature going into the mosquito season. So, man, much appreciated.
Yeah, so we're here today. We're going to talk a little bit about MosquitoCon, Richard. Can you tell us what is MosquitoCon?
So MosquitoCon is a water receptacle that we put larvicide in to break life cycles of mosquitoes. As you know, Jason, for years and years and decades, for that matter, municipalities and mosquito districts have done adulticiding and larviciding for as long as you and I have been in this industry. And let's not age ourselves on that, but we've been doing this for quite some time. And the key component to all of this is breaking those life cycles in those backyard mosquitoes. Recently, you and I attended the American Mosquito Conference, and one of the big highlights there from mosquito districts was that if we can get the pest management professional engaged in a larvicide type program for their residential customers, it also helps them in their programs because now we have something out there working while the pest management is not on site. So it was designed to help break those life cycles in mosquitoes. I mean, and as you know, they're disease carrying vectors out there, and we want to do a good job of protecting those customers.
So how do you think overall, Richard, where do you see this fitting into a PMP's backyard program overall?
So, it's like anything else, customers are very, very, visual when it comes to, adding on reoccurring revenue. One of the things that I like to talk to PMPs about is if you want to have organic growth, you got to continue to grow within your own customer base. And by adding a program like this that makes sense, people, do have really nice backyards and stuff, and they want to keep them protected as well as not getting bit, by mosquitoes. They're not only a vector, but they're also a nuisance to the customer. So I see that it fits very, very well in the pest management business because it does allow them to organically grow within their business, and we just focus on those things. What I like to often compare it to is the termite baiting systems came around years ago, and when a customer sees something working while the pest management professional is not there, that reoccurring revenue starts to happen because something's working while they're not on premises.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that. Hey, can we dive a little bit into the basic feature and kind of functions of the MosquitoCon? How does it work overall?
Yeah, let's do that. And I'm going to use a few slides here to just kind of describe the product to you and tell you how it fits. Obviously, we consider this a year-round type of station simply because at VM, we're constantly innovating, and it's not just a tagline for us. We built this station to kind of mimic our rodent station. Now, rodent stations, as you know, Jason, as well as I do in the industry, they're built to be outside. They're built to be in the elements, and last. And I live in South Texas. I know you're in Florida, so being in the South, we have year-round mosquito pressure. We don't get that luxury of the four seasons and it shutting down. What we've done is we've just kind of mirrored it after our rodent station. We made it a water receptacle so that the pest management can design their own program around it. We've integrated it to the point where, as you know, in the industry, we kind of have this stigma a little bit that everything we do is highly toxic and so on and so forth. As you know as well as I do, that a lot of this stuff is becoming a lot more environmentally friendly and reduce risk, I should say, in the industry. But we still want to put this in a tamper type resistant apparatus so that we don't inadvertently, hit a non-target pest such as the family pets, outside reservoirs such as raccoons and possums and so on and so forth. So we have a good apparatus out there. It's made to last. It's weighted down so that it won't blow over. We don't have outside reservoir drinking the liquid out of the system itself. So it fits very, very nicely in that, that type of integrated pest management approach because larvicides were just breaking those mosquito life cycles.
Absolutely. So the companies you've been working with, have you seen some metrics or some data that you could share with us on maybe increases they've seen by implementing the MosquitoCon into their program?
So one of the things that I'm getting very positive feedback on with our MosquitoCon system and their larvicide program, and even in their adulticide, is that we've always been a company that focuses on time management in a pest management business. So a lot of the positive aspects that I'm getting from the field are it takes less time to manage these particular stations because we've been dealing with rodent stations for a long time, so they're easy access, quick access, fill, drop tablet, and go. So we focus on that. So from a revenue standpoint, they're able to get more stops in a day. The technician is also able to do a little bit more investigation around the property and not be stressed for time, as well as to put a good program into place. I do know Clark Mosquito put out some really good stuff here at the AMCA event on MosquitoCon and the Natural RDT tablet. But with that, again, we allow the PMP to kind of build their program around what fits for them. But as far as the reduction goes, if we can break those life cycles, and it's like with most blood feeding type insect, if we can take care of that pupa stage all the way through the larva stage and reduce that, then we start to reduce that population. I've heard is 80, 90 to 95% we're able to reduce those biting mosquitoes at particular customers' houses. So a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. As I'm looking at this, Richard, one of the things that's kind of intriguing to me about the MosquitoCon is I'm looking at the key and the station itself, and a big complaint of PMPs is having to retrain their technicians. This looks very similar to what they're already using. Does this key cross over to keys that they already have? Is it similar to their technicians and ease of use?
Yes, absolutely. So you hit the nail on the head on that one. The way I like to position this in a pest management program, it's one key, one service. If we've already got the secured stations out there by VM products, then you're only dealing with one key, one access, and it gets you into your mosquito boxes as well. So again, we're right back to that time management, good integrated approach to mosquito control. And the technician gets it. This is the reason we built this type of closed container.
I think that's very efficient. That's a great way for a PMP to look at it and really drive that into their service to your offerings. Absolutely. Any other adds, values, benefits that we may have missed that you want to make sure we touch on today?
Well, what I do like about the station itself, and this is something that that we pride ourselves at VM, is that we're really big on branding. You can brand our MosquitoCon station with your company logo, your company information on it. Because as you know, in my background at Viserys for 18 years, Jason, I worked on inventory management, and there are key three factors that I focus on at a pest management business. One is inventory control, which you guys have the system to do that with. Two, I look at customer retention, and then I look at callback rate. Those are the three things that we focus on. And then, of course, the fourth pillar and the most important one is, can I have organic growth within my customer base? When I'm visiting with PMPs, I let them know that their customer base is the strongest base to add a program like this to, because they already trust them on their property. They're in sensitive areas on their property. So it just kind of fits their model. And you being in the industry as long as I have know that, to market a new customer into a program like this, it runs at PMP, about $250 by the time you do advertising, by the time you get them on board and so on and so forth. But if I have my existing customer base and I market to them, again, it's an easy upsell. They get it. You're doing not only larviciding, but you're really controlling public health at that point. Because they are a vector of diseases. And coming from Viserys in doing inventory management, that first pillar that I talked about, my other one was retention. Retention focuses on the station itself. Something's working while I'm not on premises, so it alleviates that third one, which is callback. Because a CSR at a pest management business now is able to say, hey, our stations are on premises, let them catch up with the mosquito, especially after a short shower or rain, they have a mosquito bloom. The stations will catch up to what's going on there. So it really reduces that perspective for the PMP. The other thing I like to show, and I'm going to switch screens here, so bear with me. I'm gonna jump into technologies, and again, I was engulfed in the technologies over at Viserys. So I want to share something that I built at VM. When I say that we innovate, we not only innovate in our tangible products. We innovate when it comes to showing PMPs exactly how the revenue stream works. Coming from that technology side of it, help VM finish out what we call our mosquito calculator. And basically just kind of give you a high, good 10,000-foot view of it, Jason, so that, your customers can actually see it. If I were to have a customer base of about 500 customers, and again, they trust me, I'm on their property, and I closed 50% of that 500 of my customer base, I broke it down. They would add an additional organic growth of $100,000 worth of revenue just adding a MosquitoCon program to their existing customer. Now, the data we're getting back is 2 to 3 stations per quarter acre, and then you go 4 stations per half acre. But we also, as well as you being a specialist in this particular segment of our industry, we want to look at conducive conditions as well. So it may be 4 or 5 stations if they have the ornamentals around the house to sustain a high mosquito population when it comes to that. But here are the numbers for you. So if I close 50% of those customers and I added just $100 per quarter as a premium add-on service to my already existing customer base, they would have an 81.8% increase in revenue if they were doing the larviciding. Now, if they do backpack mist blowing, we do encourage adulticiding. But if you're a company that just wants to do larviciding, you would have a 78.8% because now we're throwing in the IMMP into the mix of the chemical side of it. So I kind of break it down here. So let's show it to you. $100 per year additional for add-on service, 4-time visits. Now, I calculate a 5-year retention on a premium program like this, and that's just simply because I live in military USA. Military families come and they go, so I give them about a 5-year retention here. I value a technician out in the field at about $150 an hour. Now, it doesn't mean that's what we're paying them, but what it costs us to put them in a truck and get them out there is about $150 an hour for a PMP. I figured about 15 minutes of extra time, and that's assuming that I have a very slow technician. So I always want to go high case scenario there. If we were to go with the natural lard tablet, which is about $3 per 60 days, 90-day service, larviciding right there is $3 per station. Chemistry, it kind of boils down to 2,000 square feet of treated ornamental. Now, this is not including their general insect control. This is just if I did a backpack mist blow, either with the flow zone or a backpack mist blower. It runs about $3 on average per 2,000 square feet of chemistry. So we look at the total retention of 5 years. They would add $500,000 of organic growth just to their program if they were to focus on their existing customer base. So again, at VM, we're not just focused on the tangible products. We're bringing digital tools to the PMP so that they can physically see on paper what their revenue stream would look like.
Is a PMP an operator? When I see this is fascinating right here. First off, so thank you so much for sharing that. How can I get to this? How can I gain access to be able to use this as a tool in my everyday business?
So we built this tool for the Viserys team, OSR, to go out there and show their customer. As you know, you're our vehicle of distribution. So on the manufacturing side, these are the kind of tools that we're bringing to Viserys so that they can get out in the field and show those customers what that added value is that Viserys also brings to the market. They're working with manufacturers that are going to stand behind them and show them the data that they need to go out there and be successful when you're visiting with your customers.
Is there any other things that we're missing at this point on MosquitoCon, Richard, that you could think of? One of the things as we're going through this, I'm thinking about, we've talked a lot about building revenue streams and building additional service tiers to companies. Let's talk about a company real quick that already has a mosquito control service, backyard service. And let's say they have some really, let's call them hotspot properties where their retention rate's up in the 8%, 9% in that avenue. With the MosquitoCon overall, I mean, we haven't really talked about that. Does that help with their respray rate and getting those respray rates down overall?
So it does, with like I said earlier in the call, with any complete metamorphosis type insect, which a mosquito is, if we can break those life cycles, then they're doing a great deal of service for their customer. Because when we look at the breakdown, that adult population is about 4% of the population at any type of property. And then as we get into the first, second, third, and fourth instar of pupation, we're really focused on that aspect of it. So it helps that PMP to get that quick reduction with the adulticide. And then they get a quick reduction in the population when they start doing the larvicide, which is the breed out that we look at. Fleas are very, very similar. We got that 1% adult population, and then we focus on that 57% pupa stage to try to stop that life cycle. So it is helping pest management business become more efficient, and they're getting great results, great control when it comes to adding something like this to their services.
Thank you for that, Richard. Thank you. Tremendous amount of information today you brought to us. I think this is fascinating. I think the product's fascinating overall. Extremely beneficial to the backyard mosquito control programs out there. The calculator is really interesting as well, helping to understand and see those metrics firsthand and push that forward. So again, thank you for bringing all that to us today. We really appreciate you being on the Viserys Backyard Mosquito Control Management Program podcast. That's a lot to say at one time, but we got it out. If anyone has any additional questions, information, or if you may want to know where you can find out more about MosquitoCon or be able to view the MosquitoCon calculator here, please reach out to your local Viserys rep or reach out to us at viserys.com. So once again, Richard, thanks so much.
Hey, Jason, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to work with the Viserys team. We're always bringing and innovating for you guys. But man, thanks for having me on, and happy Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday to you as well, sir. Take care.
All righty. Have a good one, Jason. Thank you.
Connect with your local Viserys rep to build a program you can run confidently all season with products, equipment, and a plan that delivers and helps you add an additional revenue stream. Be sure to check out our 2 online pro training courses, Larval Mosquito Management and Adult Mosquito Management. Like and subscribe to be notified when new videos are posted.